Okay, so today we are gonna looking at two forms of Korean digital culture, which are webtoons and mukbang. Um, at first they seem very different, right? One is about storytelling, the other is about eating on camera, right? But both are shaped by digital platforms. That is the commonality, right? And webtoons show how storytelling changes in a mobile and interactive environment. And mukbang shows how everyday activities like eating become live and participatory content. So this week is really about one key idea: how platforms reshape narrative, participation, and emotional experience. So let's start with Group 7's presentation about the webtoon, right? There are three main arguments that Group 7 presented. The first one is webtoons are not just a scanned version of print comics, right? It's way more than that. And second, the webtoons operate through participatory systems, and Group 7 made an excellent presentation on that. And third, webtoons create new emotional and cognitive experiences, right? Something that you couldn't do it with just the printed comic books, right? And also, Group 7's presentation elaborated on this point really well too. So the webtoons are changing both the form of storytelling, how the storytelling is done, and also the experience of the viewers, right? And the discussion questions. The question 1 was about how normally unreadable characters have become popular. Those characters we cannot tell. Okay, let's move on to Group 7's discussion questions. The first one was about, traditionally we can tell which one is a hero, which one is the, bad guys and things like that. But nowadays some webtoons have this, main characters. We cannot tell this, his or she's good or bad, right? So the first question was about that. And if you think of some recent films or some series, for example, like a Joker film, the main character is not clearly good or bad, right? And it's kind of ambiguous, and ambiguity makes us kind of uncomfortable, right? But then we keep watching because it's intriguing at the same time. And maybe this reflects how complicated and uncertain our world, today's world, feels today, right? And we may not always understand people's motivations, let alone even our own motivations sometimes, right? And the second question asks whether digital interactivity deepens storytelling or distracts from it, right? It's an interesting question, actually. And then let's think about it. Like if a webtoon asks you to take a selfie of yourself and enter the story, does that make you feel more connected, or does it turn the story into a technological gimmick, right? So there isn't just one correct answer to this question, but these questions help us think critically about digital media instead of just being impressed by new features. And the connection section, the internal connections, Group 7 made the connections to Joe's reading on the K-pop idols, and Jang and Kim's reading about the Red Queen's race, and Jin's idea about transnational proximity. So the internal connections kind of work well, and external connections too. It somewhat work well, but they went beyond just making one layer of external connection. But the second layer, I think, it was a good attempt, but I couldn't clearly get what exactly the connections were. Maybe it was presented overall, in general, maybe there are some connections, but and there are 4 items under that section too. Maybe you want to reduce the number of ideas and then maybe explain a little bit more, right? And let's move on to just, I want to add on Group 7's presentation, and I want to just briefly mention platform power, right? Building on Group 7's analysis, right? I just want to push one step further. Webtoons are not just creative innovations. They are indeed platform-based systems, right? So when you scroll on a Webtoon app, you're not just reading. The platform is tracking your all the views, or how long you're engaged, or people like it or dislike it, or what kind of comments are made, right? So it's all tracked by the platform, right? And algorithms decide which series appear at the top, right? So it's the logic behind it is that they want to put the most popular one on the top so that people will watch it more, right? And that way they can maximize the profit, right? So when we talk about participation, we also need to think about the platform power. I mean, Webtoon, readers can comment, and then that comment will be reflected in the next creation of the story, right? So it feels like it gives some power, right, to the readers, and it almost feels like it's a co-creation, right? But then we cannot ignore the power, ultimate power that the platform has, right? So, for example, if a creator wants their series to survive, right, they may adjust the story based on the reader data, right? And this means storytelling is partially shaped by algorithms and metrics. I mean, it's not only by the reader data, but who can what kind of a webtoon can be read by broader range of readers is controlled by the algorithm of the platform, right? So it's not all up to the readers, right? So the question becomes: Are readers empowered, or are they participating inside a system that is already structured by the platform, right? And that platform, the reason why the platform exists is to make money, right? The ultimate, the most essential reason why it's operating, right? Okay. And next, I want to comment on emotion, right? We talked about K-pop fans are emotionally engaged, and why the reason why the Korean popular culture in general, I mean not only K-pop, is because there's this emotional engagement between the artist or content and the consumers, right? So why do unreadable characters, ambiguous characters, we don't know this one is good or bad, feel compelling today, right? So we live in a world of constant scrolling, instant information, and also constant connection, right? But at the same time, many people feel isolated or emotionally distant. It's an irony that we can be connected through online, right, to anybody in the world, but that doesn't make us feel like we are always connected, and it sometimes worsen the feeling of isolation, right? And webtoons reflect this condition. Some stories create emotional immersion, especially when AR inserts you into the narrative. Others create emotional distance through absurd or morally unclear characters. Both immersion and detachment are part of contemporary digital life. We feel like we're so immersed, connected, but at the same time, contradictorily, we feel like we are detached too, right? So webtoons are not only changing the storytelling techniques, they are expressing how it feels to live in a platform-based, screen-centered society. And this is why they matter, not just as entertainment, but as cultural texts that help us understand our time or the way we live in this world now, right? Okay, let's move on to Group 8's presentation. The three arguments they presented, the first one was about power and interactivity, right? And traditional media has a clear producer-consumer hierarchy. The producer controls everything and the audience just watches, but mukbang is different, right? Mukbang changes that. But similar to, how the webtoon is being created, right? reader feedback matters, right? So mukbang is more instant. It's happening at the same time. You give a feedback, and then mukbang YouTuber will do it whatever the viewers ask to do it. It's more instant, right? And second argument is about it. Second argument focuses on the virtual community, and Group 8 really well presented this idea, right? And people, Korean people used to live, as a group. It's a group. Belonging to group is such an important aspect of life, and the modern society, you feel more, you're more isolated. You physically live alone. There are many, like a one-person household, right? So they want to feel connected. They want to be together, and if they cannot do it physically with real person, they are doing it with mukbang YouTuber when they were eating, right? And the third argument is about this consumption, right? Korean people a lot of Korean people, not all, are so self-conscious about their weight, and especially young women. Most of them, they're like a average weight. They're normal, but they all think that they're so, bigger than they actually are. They have a very distorted body images, some of them. So they're on a constant diet. So, Group 8 really made a good elaboration on that point too by just watching mukbang. You're starving yourself, but you're at least getting some pleasure through watching it, right? And there's this mukbang YouTuber in Korea. I think she has so many subscribers and she makes tons of money, but she's really, really tiny. I think she's less than 10 pounds, 100 pounds or 110, surely less than 110 pounds. She's skinny and small, and she eats so much. Just when you see her eating on her YouTube, you will be in awe. You will not believe your eyes. How can she eat that much, right? But anyways, let's move on to Group 8 discussion questions. Really, really interesting and thoughtful questions. First question was about, mukbang truly empowers viewers, right? Or just give the sense of some illusion of control, right? And, viewers can comment, and YouTubers will do what viewers sometimes ask, and, then the viewers give some what is it? Star balloon, and that's actually money, right? And if you give more money, they will do more. They will do whatever you ask, right? But anyways, they can donate and influence behavior of the YouTuber, right? You feel like you have the power, right? But the platform still controls the structure. The stream still generates profit, right? So is it shared power or structured participation, right? The viewers don't get paid, right? The platform, the platform makes money. YouTube makes the most money, and the YouTuber gets some portion of it, right? By making YouTube company more richer, right? Anyways, the second question asks whether mukbang is a harmless fantasy or a symphony of unhealthy social pressure, right? It's also a very interesting, important question to ask. And is it just fun to watch if you ever watched any mukbang, right? Or does it reveal anxiety around body image, dieting, and social isolation, right? Why we find it fun, right? Why do we watch this? Other people eating, right? There must be some reasons, right? Maybe we're so anxious about body weight and we cannot eat ourselves. You don't allow yourself, to eat, and instead there's this unmet desire, right? And you have to let it out. So you're just watching other people eating endless amount of, huge portion of food, right? Or you're so lonely eating alone, so you're watching this mukbang YouTuber eating, and you feel like you're eating with somebody, right? So these questions push us to think beyond the surface level, right? And the connection section, Group 8 made a really, really excellent connection section, actually one of the best, right? And the internal, connections were well made with like a clear reference to, which article, particular article from what week. That's really helpful, right? If you just vaguely say what article. I mean, just Joe's article and from which week, adding the week number in your explanation was really good. And all the argument section too, you put like a sentence statement of each argument on your slide. That's what I asked, right? In each slide, kind of not too wordy, just brief, like a one sentence. Just stated what is your argument, and you explain it further later, right? That was well done too, and then the external connections also, clearly presented in a way showing the relationship, clearly showing the relationship. So it kind of, I was quite happy about the correction section, and building on Group 8 presentation, right? I want to shift our focus slightly. Mukbang may look participatory, but it is also deeply tied to platform economy. It's the same way, very similar way the webtoon is, right? So star balloons, in Korean it's called 별, 풍선. Star balloons are not just symbol of appreciation. It's like they are monetized donations. It's money, right? So visibility in chat often depends on payment. So if you pay more, you will be more visible on the chat, right? And you can influence you can ask the YouTuber do whatever you want to do more, right? So the more you donate, the more influence you gain, right? So the participation in this platform, mukbang platform, is not equal, right? And it is tiered and economic based on how much you donate or how many star balloons you send, right? Also, platforms benefit from longer watch time, more engagement, and emotional intensity, right? YouTube make more money if we watch longer of the YouTube whatever videos, right? When we are more engaged, and and then they can, air more advertisement, right? That's how they make money, right? All these big companies pay YouTube platform to air their advertisement, right? And the more extreme the eating in terms of the mukbang YouTube videos, the more views it may generate, and means the more money it will generate, right? So we should ask, is mukbang about community? We can participate, or we can feel like we are connected, we're not alone, or is it community, or is community being monetized? Of course it is monetized, right? If there is no parties making money other than the viewers, we don't make money by watching it. The producers, YouTubers, and the YouTube platform itself, they make money, right? If they don't make money, there will be no YouTube, there will be no YouTubers, right? Okay. And the last point here, finally, let's think about the body, our body, right? Mukbang highlights excess, huge portions, dramatic eating sounds, and sensory pleasure and all that, right? At the same time, South Korea has very strong dieting culture and beauty pressure, and many people restrict their own food intake, right? As Group 8 mentioned, right? Clearly presented. This creates a contradiction, right? Control in real life, but indulgence on screen. So mukbang becomes a symbolic space where desire is expressed without consequences. Like your desire for eating like a huge amount can be expressed there, but there's no consequence of gaining weight, right? But that also means the body becomes spectacle, meaning your body or eating body of the YouTuber becomes something like that pleasing your eyes, right? It's a good kind of scenery that it kind of gives some strong impression to people, right? Visually, right? So eating becomes performance, right? And pleasure becomes content. Right? So mukbang reflects something larger about late capitalist society where we live in now, where even like basic human activities like eating can become digitized, streamed, and monetized, right? The basic human activity like eating can make money, right? Okay, so So what do webtoons and mukbang ultimately show us? First, they blur the boundary between producer and consumer, as both groups clearly presented, right? Readers influence webtoon plots, and viewers of mukbang influence mukbang performances, right? Second, they create new form of emotional experience. Webtoons experiment with immersion, detachment, and embodied storytelling. Mukbang creates digital intimacy and virtual togetherness. And third, they monetize participation. Comments, likes, donations, engagement, metrics, all of these are built into platform systems, and it's 100% linked to how to make money, right? More comments, more money. More likes, more money. More donation, of course, more money, right? So this means that storytelling and social interaction are no longer separate from economic structures, right? In the platform age, emotion becomes measurable, participation becomes monetized, and everyday activities like reading or eating become content, which can potentially generate money, right? And webtoons and mukbang are not just trends. They are examples of how digital platforms are reshaping cultural life, of our cultural life in contemporary Korea and beyond, right? And understanding them helps us understand our own screen-based and platform-driven world where we live in. Okay, thank you so much for your attention. And I wonder how your final project preparation is going, right? So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach me. Send me an email. Okay. Okay. This is it for today. Thank you.